Alright, so it's kind of fun. I took off for like a year almost, 6, 7 months, whatever it was, and now we're like wrapping up shit. It's kind of cool. So I know I've covered the wage gap a lot. We're going back into uh, culture war issues. I've covered the wage gap a lot. There have been a lot of funny stuff about it. I just recently found out about the women's soccer team. Right? They have been fighting for years for equal pay. They want equal pay to the men. Apparently, the men made millions of dollars more than the women. They want their money. Right? I've been saying for years that the whole feminist movement nowadays, it's gone beyond equality and it's gone into supremacy. They want more, right? That's been my argument. Now, women's soccer, men's soccer, man, they've been having a go of it, and the men have been supporting the women, which I think is admirable. Of course, it's one of those be careful what you wish for situations, but nevertheless, it is what it is. So this whole thing's been going on, and I've found out what the contracts look like and their differences. Now, the men make a lot of money because a lot of people come and watch the show. Apparently, the FIFA Cup purse for the men is like $400 million. So if the men's team wins FIFA, which I don't think they ever do, but if they win FIFA, they get $400 million. If the women's team wins their FIFA, or whatever, they get like $30 million. 400 million, 30 million. So it's like, again, it's one of those things where it's like if you watch men's sports, the stadiums are always sold out and there's a lot of fucking people there and everybody's watching. And if you watch women's sports, there's like 5 people in the stands going, woo! They're really into it, but you know, they're good for them. And everybody needs a hobby, and I think it's great. Support the ladies, sure, but nobody wants to watch this bumbling ass shit. So, I'm sorry, I was just thinking of women's basketball clips. I saw a lot of low light clips. And so they're like high school games. When you look at just the low light, when you look at just the low lights, they're like worse than high school games. But like they're pretty on par with really good high school games. So they're not making a lot of money. And women's soccer and men's soccer is the same way. Far larger winner's purse for men than for women. And that is because FIFA can offer what they can offer. When you're selling billions of dollars in tickets and whatnot, you can pay millions of dollars to the winners. When you're selling millions of dollars in tickets, you can afford to pay slight millions of dollars of reward. That's the way it goes. There's only the money that there is, right? So, alright. So that's a difference in the contracts, you know, that is out of the hands of the U.S. Soccer Federation. Like, that's what they get from FIFA. It's FIFA. They fucking run that shit. They give the fucking winner's purse. There you go. I need to change my battery. Hold on. See, all my batteries died while I was off. So now I'm recharging them and it's getting slowly. Where was I? Oh, so there's that. There's another difference in the men's and the women's contract in that the men are pay to play. If you don't pay or you don't play, you don't get paid, right? And the women get guaranteed money. They're guaranteed X amount of money for signing their contract, you know? And they get all manner of benefits and stuff like that, and it's all guaranteed. The men get paid to play, right? You don't play, you don't get paid. So, when COVID hit and shit got shut down for a year, the women got paid for that year. The men didn't have any games with which to play. So they didn't get paid, right? So with risk comes reward, more often than not. If you take a riskier contract, as in, if you don't work, you don't get paid, well then, okay, well if I'm going to work, then I better get paid enough that if I need to take off, then I can afford to take off. Like, I can't be living game to game, because what happens if something happens? Like, what happens if I get hurt? What happens, it is a contact sport, more or less. They kick each other, hit each other all the time. So what happens if I get hurt? What happens if I get sick? What happens if something happens in my family? My parents die and I gotta bury them. Like, what? There's all manner of things that can go on that can keep you from playing your game, that keeps you from getting paid. So they need to have more money per game, because that shit needs to make up any losses that they may incur. If your money's guaranteed, well, you're getting guaranteed money. It's just never going to be as much. With risk comes reward. So there's that issue. There's another difference, another key difference. I can't really think of what it is off the top of my head. So, anyways, the men's contract came up a while ago, and the women's contract is coming up. Right? So they're at a point, U.S. soccer is at a point where the men are not under contract, because their contract came up, I guess, months ago or some shit like that, and they're just right now working under the old contract just until they can come up with a new contract to sign. The women's contract comes up, I believe, in December, right? So they will need to sign a new contract in December. Well, it's November. It's almost December. It's the 23rd. Right? So, everybody's not under contract come December. So what did U.S. Soccer do? They said, we're going to offer everybody the same contract. Men's, women, you all get the same contract. I don't know if they're all getting guaranteed money or if they're all getting paid to play, but they're all getting one or the other. Right? Either the men are going to get a lower money that will be guaranteed, or the women will be getting a higher money that they're going to have to work for. Right? So, right? And then there's the question of FIFA. Well, what do you do about FIFA? They're not a part of U.S. soccer. They're not going to equalize their shit, because they can, again, only give out the money and prize that they make. So, what do you do there? Well, they have what I believe is a very elegant solution. If the men win their prize money, it's split between the men and the women's team. If the women win their prize money, it's split between the men and the women's team. So if the women earn their $30 million, then it gets split between everybody. And if the men earn their $400 million, it gets split between everybody. So now, the mere pittance that FIFA gives the women when they do win, because they do win a decent amount of the time, from what I understand, they're pretty good. So when they get their $30 million, it now is going to be less for them because they have to split it with the men. And if the men, who, as far as I am aware, very rarely win the FIFA Cup, if they do happen to win, it gets split between the women too, which $400 million, that's almost like, pfft, whatever, okay. But the women, I mean, that's, you know, it's $30 million. I don't even think the women are getting $1 million at that point for winning. The men are getting money for doing nothing. So obviously, this whole question of equal pay is now here. We're here. Both sides, men, women, together, bonded. The men have been supporting the women this whole time. Remember that. They've wanted this. We want the women to have equal pay to us. And the women have said, yes, we want equal pay to the men. And so soccer said, all right, y'all get one fucking contract. And both sides went, eh. I mean, the men had a lot more grace, right? Because the women, you know, the feminists, Democrats, leftists, however you want to label them, whatever. They're silly, stupid people. And so the women came out and said, well, this is a fucking PR stunt. No, it's a contract offer. They offered you a contract. It happens to be the same as the men. You can call it whatever you want, but it's equal pay. You're getting an equal contract to the men. So, PR stunt, it isn't. It's a contract offer. Right? And the men, again, more grace, have just decided to withhold comment. Which one would think would make them look worse, saying nothing. But when you say nothing, that's a hell of a lot better than, well, this is a fucking PR stunt. How dare you offer us the same contract? It's only what we've been asking for and suing over for years. Now we've got it. It was bullshit. Because it's not supremacy. The women are unhappy because they're not going to make more. They're going to make less because they're going to have to share. Men are going to have to share too. Whatever. Right? Sharing out of a bigger pot is always easier. So, I guess this just goes to show that if you really want to test whether it is people want equality or not, give it to them. Just give it to them. Give them equality in every sense that they ask for. And then when they complain, tell them, well, then you never wanted equality. Ever. At any point. Because now you have it, and now you're unhappy, which means you never wanted it. Ever. And that's just the truth. It's not a PR stunt. It's an equal contract. You ladies need to get your heads out of your asses. Fucking figure out what you really want and say what you really want. What you really want is your guaranteed money and all of the bonuses that come with risking it. But none of the risk. That's what you want. You want supremacy. You want better than. Because you make up in your mind, oh, that was the other thing. That was the third thing. The women make more money than the men. They actually compared the fucking... Women make more money than men anyway. That was the third thing. But anyways, they don't fucking want supremacy. They want all of the benefit, none of the risk. That's what they want. And they're not going to get it. Because that's not how fucking life works. Again, when you decide to ignore reality, reality tends to smack you in the fucking face with exactly what you asked for. Now shut up and take it. Quit